Yeah. I'm not on, okay, I can see you, Jason. I'm not on the screen. Thank you for having me, everyone. Thank you for that intro, Jason. It is really, really an honor to be here. Um, I'm gonna jump right into it. I wanted this workshop to be life beyond a degree because no one spoke about that when I was doing all my degrees. It was more like focusing on our career goals and our academic goals, but no one really spoke about all the things that life throw at us. So I'm going to share my screen and then dive into the PowerPoint. It's really not short. Thank you, Jason, for letting me know. You guys are really exhausted right now, I'm sure, with finals and everything that's going on. So I promise I will not keep you long. But before we get into it, I want to know, how are you feeling? So if anyone is brave enough to raise your virtual hand, and I know Saba's in the back end, or if you just want to unmute and just tell me, how are you? How are you feeling? And focus on these three categories: your mind, your body, and your spirit. How are you feeling in this moment? Just take 2 seconds, 2 minutes, a deep breath, and ask yourself, how am I doing mentally, physically, and spiritually? And if anyone is brave enough to answer out loud, I would love for you to engage. How are you feeling right now? Tania raised her hand.
My name is Tahina.
Tahina.
Um, and mind, I feel like my mind is everywhere
Okay.
because like finals and stuff coming up, and just everything going on.
Mm.
Body wise, like health and everything, I'm fine. But spiritually, it's just like my mind because I feel like my spirit controls my mind and everything else in between.
I see Abigail put in the chat that she feels the same way. Thank you. Anyone else? How are you doing?
Hello? Hello?
Oh, hi.
Yes. Um, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling okay. But before that, there's the mind, body, and spirit. Now, in spirit, I need church again because it's been a while. I promised to focus on classes so I can get a higher GPA. And that's why I stayed away from the spirit. The body is a vessel. But I feel it needs more exercise. So I will be working on that. And when it comes to the mind, mindset is the key. Yes, I agree. Mindset is the key, and it's good for success. Yes. I definitely do agree, and I have some mind right now. I'm doing better every day, but yeah, mind. I like it a lot. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think one more person. How are you feeling? I got the pandemic gut. Oh, geez. One more person. How are you doing? How are you feeling? You could type it in the chat if you like. Physically drained. Feel good and happy. Okay. And I appreciate you all for responding to that question. I started with that question because as a leader, when you become a leader in whatever organization or just in your life, beyond the degree, every now and then you have to stop and ask yourself, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And just do these body scans, because if not, you're going to feel burned out. You're going to feel drained, because outside of our academic careers, we are all these other things, right? All these other labels. We might be moms, wives, husbands, daughters, sons, all these other things outside of the degree. And I wanted to open with that because it's very, very important in order to be successful to make sure your mind, your body, and your spirit is doing good. If not, you cannot achieve those goals. So that's why I really wanted to open up with that. And now I want to mentally overwhelmed, physically okay, but spirit is great. Wonderful. Now to give you a little back history of who I am. My degree resume is pretty extensive. I started at Bronx Community College umpteen years ago. I will not disclose my age. I really look younger than I am. I started with Bronx Community College, degree in psychology. Then I went to Mercy College. And after Mercy, I spent several years as an educator, about 15, 16 years. I was first a teacher, then a dean of students in several charter schools in New York. I am a New Yorker. I will not claim the state of Florida that I currently reside. I'm a New Yorker forever. And while an educator, around like my 15th year mark, I got really tired of the students and just how the schools were being run. And then I went back to earn my master's at New York University. So I'm an alumni of NYU, graduated with honors there. And that's where I earned my master's in social work. So I'm a clinical social worker. And as a clinical social worker, I specialize in mental health and substance use. So this entire workshop will mostly be focused on your mind, your body, your spirit, beyond the degree. Because if you're not, what I've learned through my years, past all these wonderful, degrees and while in my careers, if you're not setting up solid routines, if you're not taking care of yourself, your vessel, you're not at all going to be successful as a leader. And I'm sure Jason can attest to it. He must have some kind of routine to juggle and handle all the things that he does, and not enough people talk about it, right? Now, what my resume looks like beyond the degree. I am a CEO. I run and operate my own candle company. I am a content creator. I'm a mentor and a mentee, and also a whole lot more. I want to highlight a mentor. It is very, very important for you to have a mentor. A mentor should be someone that guides you on life's journey. You can have several mentors. If it's a mentor that's just for academia, if it's just a mentor if you want to become an entrepreneur. And I throw this in here because I want you all to understand. You want to be like me when you grow up. I want you all to understand you can do honestly whatever you want to do. And this is just a snapshot of a lot of the things I do that is not connected to my degree, but somehow I weave it in there because I do live a life of purpose and I do like taking care of people and making sure everybody's doing well. So in my candle company, all my candles are naturally made. All my candles are some kind of healing element, aromatherapy that I call it aromatherapy that every spirit needs, right? Because we all love lighting candles, but I don't like the junky chemical stuff. So even in my business, I'm intentional with that. And you must be wondering, like, how in the world you're a clinical social worker and you're running a business? I don't know, I'm crazy. But what I've learned over the years is, and I eavesdropped a little on the conversation before we started about inflation, and we see how life right now is so crazy. It's hard to just survive on one income. It's hard to just survive on our degrees because reality is, and that reality hit me after I graduated from NYU and moved to Florida and being offered pennies. And I looked at a lot of the employers like, my student loan is over $100,000. How am I supposed to take care of this? But a lot of people don't have that kind of conversation while we're in school and we're doing these checklists of all these career goals that we have, what it looks like when we do go out in the real world. And this is what it looks like when we go out in the real world. Starve your distractions, feed your focus. And I was very intentional with this slide because I wanted to throw in there, we have our goals, right? But there's life right there in the middle. Throw in the alligators, social media. And we're also trying to look down the line to success. How do we get to success with all these life distractions? Social media being one of the biggest ones now in the world that we live in. And social media causes a lot of people to what? Compare. And I want to tell you all right now, comparison is the thief of joy. Don't do it. do not do it. You might leave Hostos and you see someone from your cohort thriving and you're sitting there like, wait, but I can't even get a job where I want to get my job yet. Wait, but I don't do it. Starve those distractions and feed your focus. Focus on the goals that you have that you want to be successful. And I'm going to go over a few things to help you focus on those goals. I need to definitely start my yes, you have to. And I want to throw that out there right now because even though you're here at Hostos and you're working on a few things, what are some life distractions that you have to battle currently while you're trying to achieve your goals? If anybody wants to unmute and answer that question, what are some distractions you have right now that you're struggling to starve? You're struggling to block out? My distractions are on the verge of obesity. Okay. Anyone else? If anyone wants to unmute, that's great. I like to hear voices and feel your energy. I don't want to mess up your name again, Tasheena.
Oh, you said it right.
Okay.
Now we could be friends. Hey. My biggest distraction, honestly, is my brain because it's like when you're doing work, you're like, damn, this work is boring. I wish I was doing this, or I wish I was doing this, or like I'll be distracting myself and I'll be like, gotta focus, we're doing work.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the time, like, damn, I was daydreaming for like an hour. Oh my God, where'd the time go? Or I get bored with my work and I start watching TV. Just everything is a distraction.
And we're going to focus on, I'm going to tell you guys some tips and tricks that have helped me through that. Thank you for that. And I'm seeing the chat. Family needs and friends constantly texting, mental battles. My distraction is being a good friend. Awesome. One main thing I can share with you all is to create boundaries. Boundaries is something I had to learn, especially during grad school, because during grad school, I was still working a 9 to 5. Living in New York, there was no way I could just go to NYU and skip to my Lou without working, right? In my first year, I was still working full-time and in their full-time program. So you have to learn how to create boundaries. No, believe it or not, is a full sentence. Learn how to say no. And that's something I had to learn. Learn how to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Your friends and family need to respect that you have these goals that you want to achieve and establish those boundaries. Let them know my phone goes in do not disturb on X time and it's back on Y time. Add people to your emergency contact that if in case of an emergency, you want to hear those notifications when they call, but set strict boundaries for your mental space. And full disclosure, several years ago, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, right? So I battled my own depression. I battled my own mental health. That's why I really wanted to do this workshop, because mental battles are real when it comes to life and these academic goals that we might have. And then when life throws the wrenches, how are we dealing with it? What do we have in our day-to-day practice to keep our mind right, to keep our body right, and to keep our spirit right? And when I talk about body, it doesn't necessarily mean you're working out every single day, right? Most of us can't. But more so, paying attention about just what you're consuming, drinking enough water, making sure you eat a fruit every now and then, going for a walk, all those things will help you mentally as well. When nobody else celebrates you, learn to celebrate yourself. You have to have a vision for your life. When you have a clear vision for your life, those distractions, you will be able to ignore them. Biblically speak about it. Write your vision and make it plain. And I know you probably hear about vision boards and all that hunky-dory. No, you don't have to go as far as vision boards, but write them down every single day. And I would love for you all to do this. Start doing this now and let it become a habit and a routine every single day. And I'm sharing a tip with you that I've learned from successful people, right? Every single day when you wake up every morning, grab a notebook and write 3 things you're grateful for. Start your day with gratitude. Start your day with taking care of your mind. Start your day just by celebrating you. Because a lot of times people see you on the go and they don't even recognize that, listen, this is rough. You know, so if no one is celebrating you, learn how to celebrate yourself, because a lot of times people will look at you, oh, she's the strong one, you know, first time mom and I feel everything else. Yes, you know, but honor yourself, queen, and just celebrate yourself that, listen, I'm a first time mom, but I'm still doing this. I'm still rocking this, you know? So write those goals, write your vision out, whether it's 5-year goals, 10-year goals. And I like to plan my life in decades, right? I like to look at it like my 10-year span. So you have to understand all the work that you're doing now will harvest in the future, right? So write them out and think about, you know what? And I wrote it here, plan to pivot. And when you pivot and you detour, think about when we're driving, if you drive, right? Or if you're just on the road and you see those detour signs. Sometimes obstacles come in our way and we have to detour, we have to pivot. But guess what? When we make those detours, we still end up back to where we want to go. We are still going to our destination. We're just now taking a whole different route. And that's okay. It is okay to pivot. All right. Establish routine and stay organized. Listen, a great leader is very organized. In order to be successful, you have to be organized. And again, I mentioned that I am a CEO. I'm running a company, and running a company is not just, I know we live in a time where social media, let it seem like, is just posting on social media and pretty pictures. It is not. I run and operate all the back end of my business. You're talking about the website, ordering supplies, creating the candles, and let's not talk about the legalities of it all. So I have a candle company, but it's actually a corporation. It's an S corp, and under that, my candle company is running under my S corp. So I have to have a team that handles to make sure I pay taxes. Now, I learned that the hard way my first year in business when I got a letter from the state of Florida that told me I owed them $2,000 in taxes. I said, wait a minute, where am I supposed to get $2,000 from? And that goes with staying organized, right? I was not organized in that area, and I had to call my tax person and ask, what is this? And she's like, did you pay your quarterly state taxes? No, I didn't. So I hand that over to her. At the end of every quarter, she sends me an email reminder and I send her my quarterly report. She pays my taxes and I pay her, right? And that is a part of staying organized. Write everything down. Have a scheduler. No, you might not have. I'm a writer, so I have tons of notebooks. And if my screen wasn't blurred, I'd show you all my Post-its in my workspace. But write everything down and stay organized. Plan ahead of time. Plan everything out, even your vacation, even your moment to just breathe. Write that out. Establishing a routine. So insight into my routine every single morning, I start my day super early. I start my day at 3:30 every morning because of my job. I work in substance abuse, so we open at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I wake up at 3:30. At 3:30, I'm not touching my phone. When I wake up, I'm reading a devotional, I'm meditating, I'm listening to a motivational theme, some kind of Bible scripture because I'm very spiritual, right? And then I start my day. You have to take time for yourself. And all these things that I'm mentioning and all these tips, I've been in rooms with a lot of successful people, and environment also is the key. If you have a plan for your life and you see that no one around you is where you want to go, change your environment. And changing your environment does not necessarily mean packing up and moving. No, sort out events, networking events, conferences, sort out these things. Look to a specific maybe leader that you admire, somebody that's successful in the area that you want to pursue, and go to these conferences and network. Because when you're in the space and the environment of successful people where you want to be, it shifts your mindset and it forces you to start establishing routines that will get you to the level that they are, and also helps you to stay organized. Because when you get into these rooms, they will tell you the same thing. They are organized. They have a routine. They're working out. They're taking time for themselves. So they have all these things already down pat. Okay. I want to share a quick video with you, because one of the major things I struggled with when I was working on my degree is I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to fail. I was such a nerd, right? I think I was a good student in high school. I had my moments, right? And even through college, I was a nerd. I graduated honors with all my degrees. I don't like to fail. But guess what? The best lessons come from the worst memories, right? We have to be prepared to fail. So I'm going to let you listen to one of the many motivational videos that I listen to. And this is a part of my daily routines. I listen to a lot of motivational videos every single day. Every single day. And like I shared, I suffer from depression. So to keep my mind in a positive space, I have to be intentional with all these things. I'm struggling with that right now, overthinking, like, is my work good enough? Yes, that will beat your butt. And like I said earlier, learn to celebrate yourself, right? Because you're doing it. So your work is enough. You are enough. Trust and believe your work is good enough. And I had to eventually learn to let it go. Like, girl, you just did this on 2 hours of sleep. This is as good as it's going to get. Right? So I want you all to listen to this. It's several speakers, and I would love to hear your feedback. This is on one of my motivational playlists. Can you guys hear it?
You will never succeed more than you fail. That's not how it works. You know why? Because failure is a wonderful teacher. It's the only way to learn. You have to fail. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world, he took 946 game-winning shots. He has only made 146 of those. He has missed over 700 times, but he has made 146. You know what they write about? When you make it. They write about when you make it. So guess what? When you get through failing, all you gotta do is make one. Matter of fact, when you fail, be glad about it. Every time you fail, you're one step closer. So every time you fail, say, whew, got that out the way. Go to the next one. Fail again, okay, I got 2 out the way. What's gonna happen is, if you just keep swinging, you're gonna get a hit.
Do not fear failure, but please be terrified of regret, as giving up is the birth of regret. You will receive 100 doors slam in your face. You will have 100 moments that will be filled with someone telling you no. But what I ask of you today is to not take no for an answer. Don't be afraid of no's. Be afraid of the possibility of a yes that you have prematurely destroyed because you decided to quit before the clock strikes 12. I love a good no. Please tell me no. Telling you no is like adding fuel to a fire that is now set ablaze because of your single no. I love additional reasons to work harder. Please give me a reason. You better move inside. You still looking outside, but stuff is moving inside. You still looking for someone to save you.
I can't hear it anymore.
Yeah, I think we lost the sound towards the end of the second
Want
session.
the sound?
Yeah.
Um, is it back on or no? I think it's okay. I paused it. Let me see now. Okay, let me see why. I think it's a Zoom setting that will be able to share the audio loud and then it fades out. Oh, darn it. It's almost done, but for the most part, did you what was your takeaway from what you heard at the beginning? Because it's really the beginning part that I really wanted to own in on. If anybody wants to jump in on that.
Yes. It kept talking about do not fear failure, because that's how you will learn.
Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. Thank you. Abby?
One thing I took away from the video was that nobody counts how many times like you've messed up or how many times you've missed your shot. The only thing that matters is how many times you've done well. That's what will be appreciated. So that's
Right.
what I took from the video. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Francine, for putting that. Don't be afraid to fail. You will hear a lot of no's. There will be a lot of no's. You got to be your own hero. Yes, you do. That's one of my favorite quotes. I actually have that quote on a candle. You have to be your own hero. And quick story, when I decided to move to Florida, fresh out of grad school, and even though I had years of experience as a leader in education, now I'm starting a whole new career. Now I'm job hunting. I moved to Florida with 0 job offers. I sent out over 200 resumes. And when I moved here, I would say eventually I had maybe 8 interviews out of those 200 resumes. And even before moving, I got a lot of no's. People were like, oh, you're coming from New York, we can't afford you. That was one of the big things I heard. You're coming from New York, NYU, we can't afford you. It's like, wait, what? Just give me a chance. I'll work with whatever. I just want to get my foot in the door. But that was one thing I heard a lot, and I had to get comfortable with the rejections, right? Because life is not always this beautiful yellow brick road. We're going to hear no's. We're going to stumble. We're going to fail at whatever we're working on. If anybody wants to share a moment that you failed at something, but you get back up, how did you get back up? How did you keep going? Tahina? I like you. You participate a lot.
For example, I didn't necessarily fail, but it counts as a fail. I did all my work for, I'm gonna just say it, I don't even care, because we all in school anyway. I had a psychology teacher. I'm not gonna name no names, you know, but I did all my work, and that was a hard topic, like hard subject and everything. But I still struggle. I got up off my butt and did my work, and she still failed me. Like, I feel like you can't do that. That's illegal or something. Or in school terms, like, that's illegal. Like, but that I didn't let that stop me. That made me depressed a little bit because I know I put like time and effort into all of my work. But you're always gonna come in life, you're always gonna come across people that either don't like you or they're just strict because that's how they are. But that shouldn't stop you from doing what you have to do and succeeding, because of course you're gonna go down sometimes, you're gonna fail, but it's all about getting back up.
Right.
I might have failed that little class, but I passed all my other classes with flying colors. That's what I just don't understand. Even now, I passed with flying colors. So
Right.
it's nothing with you. It's some people just are the way they are for whatever reason, and that shouldn't affect you.
Yeah, and if any of you plan to pursue, further degrees and careers, be prepared. There will be tough professors that just give you these grades because, and you put in hours, right? Who's a mom, a dad, a son, you're working and you spend hours doing this particular paper and they turn around and give you a C or a D. And you feel it in your gut. Like, whoa, wait a minute, I deserve more. But that happens. And if you start learning how to cope well with those no's and those failures now, you will be successful. And the only way to cope with those no's and those failing moments is to prepare your mindset, right? You got an F2, Francine. F's is just like,
Wait, I didn't get an F. I just got an incomplete.
oh yeah, incomplete.
It's still a fail for me in my eyes.
You had time to go get it done.
No, it's from last semester.
All right, books, reading. Okay. Reading. Please read, even when you're out of school. Reading become my saving grace. I'm currently reading Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. That's why I put it on here. It has moved up to my top 5 of books. It was hard for me to think of the books I want to recommend to you all. I highly suggest that you start with the 4 agreements. One of the 4 agreements is don't take things personal. Has anybody read any of these books or even heard of any of these books before? I love all of them. These are great books. It looks like weed. These are great books that will help you to become successful leaders. The second Arthur. Yes, it's highly recommended. These books are great books that will set you up to be great leaders in life, whether you do become an admin or whatever leading position in your field, in your respectful field, but just in life, right? Because first and foremost, because before we become leaders in any company, we're the leaders in our lives, right? And you have to have a great mindset in order to execute a successful life, in order to starve those distractions, right? In order to starve those alligators that life throw at us. And the 4 agreements, I see that Ryan said he read it. That's a book you should always reread in different seasons of your life. The power of discipline, no excuses. Let me tell you something. This book is one of those books that it's almost, the author wrote it in a way, it's like he's given us these tough talks that we all need to hear. It's like we know it, but just like, whoa, reading it in the pages hits home. And don't make any excuses. You will never, ever be successful in life if you become comfortable making excuses. There's no excuse. Get up every day, get it done. That's why it's important to write your vision and make it plain. Put your vision on Post-its. Put your vision, write it out on a little piece of paper on something that you can read every single day, right? I have on my mirrors, I have quotes and things I write out just to remind myself every day, why am I going so hard? Why do I do what I do? Because in my life plan, beyond the degree, is to retire in about 6 years, right? I'm 38, 39 now, about to be 39 in a couple of months. And my goal is to retire by the time I'm 45, right? I don't want to be a social worker forever, right? And that's just my personal goal. I don't want to work a 9-to-5 forever. And that's just my personal goal. But in order to get to that, what does it look like? What are the books that I'm reading? What do I have set up? What am I listening to? That all goes back to the mind, body, the spirit. What are you consuming? is important. If you're only consuming social media, I'm so sorry, that was my mama. Social media is one of our biggest distractions in this day and age. And it's very important to armor yourself mentally because you will get those back. Yes, she probably forgot. You have to armor yourself mentally. Everything starts and ends in the mind. And that is coming from a clinical social worker perspective and also just my life. Everything starts and ends in the mind. What you think, you become. I'm sure plenty of you have heard that before. What you think, you manifest. That's not just a mumbo jumbo. It is real. What you think, you manifest. How you start your day, I'm going to go back to that. If you start your day and you said to yourself, it's going to be a wonderful day, I'm going to accomplish these goals, I'm going to stay in good spirits, what you're speaking will manifest, even if life throws a rock at you, and it will happen every single day. Something is going to happen that you did not plan, but you have to go back to how you started your day. Yes, Tahina, go ahead.
Like an example, like you said, don't you gotta be positive with everything. My example personally is when I be scared of certain things like classes or something, I be like, oh my God, I'm gonna fail. My mom be like, stop putting that negative energy in the world. Stop doing that. Think positive because you're gonna pass. You gotta just think good. And when you think good, good happens. But when you think bad, bad happens. It's like you give what you get.
You give what you get. You definitely give what you get. And one of the tools that I'm giving you all some of my secrets. Please don't tell anybody these things, okay? I'm giving you my secret stuff. One of the things I use the I Am app. It's called I Am, and it sends affirmations through my phone every hour. And that snaps me back every time. You have that app. Yes. Look, you're all successful leaders already. I'm telling you. You will do great in this world. As long as you maintain those things, please do not let those things fall in the cracks when you're moving on to whatever other goals you might have, whatever other degrees or certifications you want to achieve. Do not. Yes, download it, set it. It's a tool that I use and I absolutely love it because every now and then, a notification will come in right on time when I need I needed that reminder, you know? So when you set these things up now and it becomes a routine and a part of I Am, literally it's just I am. If you have Apple, I will not talk about Android users, but but if you set these things up now, believe you me, if you have any entrepreneurial goals, you can achieve those goals. Okay? Whatever other things you have planned that doesn't look in the picture of your degrees, you can do it. It's fine. You know, and Bishop T.D. Jakes said something once. He was like, don't allow people to put you in a box. Remind me of the I Am. Don't allow people to put you in a box. Don't allow people to put these labels on you to say, example for me, oh, you're a social worker. You should only do social work things, right? You should only go to social work conferences and kumbaya with everyone. You should only be a therapist. No, I can be a CEO as well. And Bishop they talk about that because he is a pastor, a bishop, but he also owns nonprofit, for-profit. He has books, he has movies, he has all those things. So I want to emphasize the importance of it is okay to do anything else in your little bucket of goals that you want to do that's not aligned or correlated to your degree. Okay? And I had another video, and this one is so good. And I wanted to wrap up with this one. And I really hope you guys can hear it, because Steve Harvey talked about being a successful leader. If you have not listened to any of the Steve Harvey motivational messages, start doing it now. Make it a part of your routine. I listen to people like Steve Harvey, Les Brown, Eric Thomas is a really good person to listen to as well. And all these videos are on YouTube. Who else is a good one? The Jay Shetty podcast is really good. Yes, Carmen, this video is so good. Oh, you're all wonderful. You're all really on track to be so successful, as long as you continue. If the key is to maintain these things in your life. Denzel Washington is good. There's one video that I do watch every single day, and that is Jeff Bezos. You can use share sound on the second tab. Jason, where is that?
Sorry, keep talking. I'll guide you through when you play the video.
Okay, no problem. Jeff Bezos, not Jeff Bezos, I'm so sorry. What's his name? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs' commencement speech is a speech that I recommend you should all listen to a few times. When he spoke about getting fired from Apple. When he spoke about getting fired from Apple, and that was his failing moment, right? Like, how can you start a company and get fired from the company that you started? But he spoke about if he didn't get fired from Apple, he wouldn't have started Pixar. So be okay to fail. But again, listen to these speakers, listen to these people who are very successful, who failed so many times, but the key is to get back up. I've been fortunate enough to be in rooms with multimillionaires, and they talk about how many times they went bankrupt, how many times they had to start over, how many times, you know, they felt like giving up, but they kept going. Yes, Abby.
I was gonna add on that like I wasn't really a big reader before, and like I wanted to read a lot of motivational books, but I just couldn't have the attention for it. So as my uncle told me, you can learn anything from YouTube. I started searching up YouTube motivational books, and like they would read it, it's an audio book, and I'll just listen to it. And I think that's also a great tip for like anyone that, like, you know, you can't really concentrate when you're reading that much and you still want to get that motivational tips. That's one thing too.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that tip. Yes, if you're not a big reader, again, I'm just a nerd, and I like to read, but I also like to challenge myself, right? Last year, I decided to cancel my Netflix. That was my distraction that I had to starve, right? I canceled my Netflix for an entire year because one of my personal goals was to read 12 books last year while I was traveling, right? So my sacrifice to starve a distraction was to cancel Netflix. And it worked for me. So find what works for you and get into the groove, because all these things I shared works, because I've been doing it for at least 8 years now. And I wish I started while I was in school, but I didn't. I didn't know these things, right? They didn't have weird workshops like this one. So I'm going to play. I think this one is about 5 minutes long.
Oh, well, it's still worth the free new Samsung Galaxy S22.
There's an old saying that I heard that there's two kinds of people born in the hospital every day. There's a person born in the hospital that's going to get a job, and there's a person born in the hospital that's going to give that person the job. You have to decide along the way which one you're going to be. You can be a leader, but a leader is a developed set of skills. It's a developed set. And the more, but see, here's what stops the average person from being a leader is the fear of the consequences of leading. Most people don't want the responsibility of being a leader. But let me tell you the trick though. The responsibility and ramifications and consequences of being a follower is more dire and more severe. Because now, as a follower, you just got to go along with whatever. You know how many adjustments you got to make when you're a follower? But the man come in and decide I'm having layoffs, and he hand you a slip, and it's Christmas. What? That wasn't in your plans, but you decided you didn't want to be a leader, you want to be a follower. Now guess what? You got to deal with that. If I'm a leader and I own a company and the company starts losing money, you think I'm fitting not have my life? No. Cutbacks start on the follower. The leaders don't go, well, let me quit. Because if I quit, ain't nobody eating. The cutbacks start at the bottom. So you have to make a decision if you're going to be a leader or not. But understand what a leader is, though. Sometimes you just really want to be the leader of your own life. See, you don't have to lead a world leader. I have no aspirations of being Martin Luther King. I have no aspirations of being Gandhi. None whatsoever. I had really no aspirations of being the leader that I've become today. That I got young men listening to me that I wasn't even really counting on. I got dudes emailing me, man, running up to me, man, at Essence. His brother ran up to me and Terrence was stopping him from talking to me. And the big brother, about 300 some pounds, sweating, had a chef coat on, had a thermometer pen, he's sweating all over the place. He had seen me come on stage, saw me go through the back. He ran all the way around to meet me. And Terrence, stand down, soldier. Well, this big dude right here ain't with that. He said, hey, little man, come on now. Ain't nobody got time for this here. I'm trying to holler at this man right here. Because you don't know what I've been through. Stand down, soldier. Little man, before this turned into something else, I got to see him today. His whole thing was he was a prison inmate down in New Orleans, had been listening to me on the radio since 2005. Did his 5 years, got out the joint, started studying in prison food prep because he said, you told me one morning you ain't gotta sit there and do nothing. You can better yourself from to come back. He said, you changed my whole life. He said, I come to tell you, man, I'm the chef right now at the Hilton. But the big dude was just crying. We end up hugging. I cried with him because, I be feeling people like that. I have no idea, nor did I have an aspiration to be an inspirational person to them. But I have always asked God in my own way to make me a relevant person. I don't want to be a cat that when I die, ain't nobody tripping. Church empty, ain't nothing right here. Because, there's two things, when a person dies on their tombstone. There's a birth date. There's a dash, and then there's a date of your demise. And let me tell you something. When you die, they're not going to talk about your birthday. They're not going to talk about you died. The biggest conversation will be about that dash, that little dash. That's the life you lived in the middle of that date of birth and the date of demise. That's what determine who you are.
Ooh, that was good. Any takeaways from that? My favorite part is when he talked about right there at the end, the dash. Think about the life you're living now and the footprints that you're leaving, the lives that you're touching. That's what people are going to think about. So yes, our degrees are great, but who are you beyond that degree? What impact are you leaving with people? How are they going to remember you? How are you making them feel? And yes, like Steve Harvey said, you might not want to be a leader of a company, but the leader of your own life. You might be touching or inspiring someone right now in your life that you don't even know about. They're watching from a distance, right? So anything from that video resonated from you, for you, and if you like to share, this is one of my favorite videos. I'm sure Tahina has something to say. Or if anyone want to write it in the chat. That was powerful. I know it kind of left you. I can feel your energy. Everybody kind of left like, whoo. Yeah. It kind of left you like, whoa, I never thought of that. I wasn't thinking in that way. Cried on the inside. I feel you. I definitely feel you because, you know, that dash, and he's so right, on everyone's tombstone, if you decide to have a tombstone. I love when he said some people want to just be the leaders of their own lives. And that is true. Not all of us want to be leaders. So when I was a teacher, I never wanted to be a dean of students. I never thought of being an admin in a school. But school leaders, they were watching from a distance how I ran my classroom. Board members were watching from a distance. And as the school grew, and at the time I was in Yonkers, and as the school grew, they decided that they need a dean of students. And everyone forced me into this position. Everyone forced me, but they were like, you have to do it. And I didn't want to. I was afraid. I'm like, how can I run an entire school, 650 students, and I'm the only dean, kindergarten to 8th grade? How in the world am I going to do it? And I just had to take a deep breath and just say, listen, you're being placed in this spot for a reason. Just see what happens, you know? And I was thrown in that leadership role, but I wanted to just be a classroom teacher and just be happy with my first and second graders because they did not give any problems. Right? Yes, he captures the attention. And just think about that dash. If you don't take away anything else from this workshop today, think about the dash. And that dash right now is the life that you're currently living. Think about the dash. Think about the impact you're making, the lives that you're touching. Think about the dash within your vision. How are you going to help others? How are you going to be of service to others with your degree or beyond your degree? How are you going to serve others? A great leader is a great server. You cannot lead if you don't know how to serve. And that's something and notice when I put that I'm a mentor and also a mentee, I know how to show up for my mentor when she needs me. And I have people that I mentor as well, you know? So think about the dash. People will always remember how you made them feel. A lot of times when we enter a room, they don't care about our degrees. Your energy is what speaks. How you present yourself is what speaks. That confidence that you walk into rooms with is what speaks. And a lot of times, of someone of color, I'm walking into rooms with a lot of people that don't look like me, especially being an NYU alumni, you know, but understand that you are enough. You earn the right to be in those spaces, but what impact are you leaving when you enter those spaces? So think about that dash. And finally, I want to close with, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. And I'll open the floor to any questions. Am I allowed to take any questions, any takeaways, anything you want me to touch on or elaborate on that I kind of skipped through? The floor is yours. You can raise your virtual hand. I like that too, Carmen. Most of the quotes that I used today came from Jay Shetty. I'm really obsessed with Jay Shetty. You guys can look him up and learn his story. He's actually a monk. And I really admire him and what he's doing. And he's someone that went beyond those labels, right? Because he had a path of, he could have been so successful and he decided to be a monk and follow their practices. But now he's back in the real world years ago and teaching others those practices and how we can really think like a monk. I love the book because when he highlights certain things, I'm like, really? Oh, wow, I didn't know monks think like that. So when he said think like a monk, it's all about just your mindset and how you're thinking and how you're operating and moving in the space, this world that we live in. So any questions that you want to personally ask me, or just like how I Jason, something pop up about shared screen. I don't know what this is. Any questions you want to ask about just like how I already kind of covered a lot of tips of how I'm balancing life beyond the degree. But if anybody have any specific questions, I'll be more than willing to answer them, or any feedback. The floor is yours. I'm here to serve all of you. How to sacrifice? Whew. Giving up time with friends. That was a big sacrifice that I made. Even example, like moving to Florida for me was a big sacrifice because I couldn't live in New York anymore. The cold, health issues, and I sacrificed not being around my friends and family. My entire support system is in New York, and I gave that up in order to just get peace of mind. And yes, I had to start over, but that was a big sacrifice. It doesn't have to be that major, but something as small as sacrificing, just like saying no to somebody. If you don't have time, patience, or money to go hang out with friends because you have a paper due, no, I can't go. Instead, I'm going to go to this conference because this conference is aligned to my goals and aspirations right now. So those little things are sacrifices. Sacrificing an hour of not watching Netflix, instead go to bed early so you can get up early to start your day in a healthy mental and spiritual space. So those are some, little sacrifices. Thanks for that question. Any more questions? Tahina doesn't have any questions. Okay. How did you overcome your fear of becoming a dean? Oh, my mom. My mom said you can do it. Having a good support system really helps. My mom kept saying, you've been a teacher for so long and they see this in you, try it. Then that was one of the big things my mom always said. She was like, try it. Even if you want to try it for a year, at least you tried. What more you can do? Just step down, so just go for it. And I was like, okay. And that's what I did. And I laid the ground rules. So this is something else I can share with you all when you enter a lot of these companies. Advocate for yourself. So when I became a dean, I was very clear with my board of directors. These are the things I want. These are the things I need in order to be a successful dean. These are the changes I want to implement. And if you can meet me halfway with my demands, then you have to find another dean. So that's definitely one of the things like, okay, my mama said I can do this. Okay, well then here you go. Here are a list of things. Friday is my favorite because every day I'm learning something new. Okay, thank you, Francine. Any more questions? Okay, no, I'm finished, Jason. I mean, thank you all for having me. This was great. I wish you all the very, very, very best in life, and I hope I left you with something. Are you a Cancer? That's so random. Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Abby. How did you know?
It's just all the cancers that I've met, they're just, I don't want to like secluding, like they're just born leaders. Like they always have a schedule. They're always on time with everything. It's just, you just give the vibes. So that's how I just.
I always love the Leadership Academy group. Yes, I am a Cancer. I am definitely a Cancer. But no, I wish you all the very best. The world needs you all. Just remember to be yourself when you get into these spaces. Take care of your mind. It's your mind is key, because you're going to enter spaces where you don't have YouTube. No, I do not. I cannot add that to my plate. But you're going, and we live in times, and I'll share just this one moment before we wrap up, but we're living in very different times now in America. And like Steve Harvey said, we might not want to be a leader in companies, but we want to at least be a leader in our own lives. And I work for an organization, well, I'm not really there full time anymore, but in the heart of the pandemic, 2020, and all the George Floyd protests, my boss at the time did not address, he did not address what was happening. He brushed over it. 95% of the staff is of color or minority. And he didn't acknowledge it at all. And the room was uncomfortable. We felt the discomfort via Zoom, and I spoke out. So in that moment, I had to be a leader. And if I didn't have the mindset to be brave enough to speak to my boss in the way that I did, it wasn't disrespectful, but I just voiced my discomfort in his silence as a person of color that worked for this institution. And I made it be known the changes I would like to see in the organization. So in that moment, yes, I'm a quote unquote follower, so to speak, based on the position. I don't hold a leadership position. But in that moment, I became a leader. Hold on, excuse me. Sorry, I have this horrible cough and it won't go away. Yes, I'm sorry. This cough will not go away. So yeah, so that's all I want to share with you guys. And back over to you, Jason.